In the CLIM-RUN project, we have this case study about the North Adriatic coast, which is based on the European Union Protocol on Integrated Coastal Zone Management. So we elaborated a series of activities to involve stakeholders in order to be able to understand what their needs are. We decided to involve stakeholders because we wanted to make sure that the products, both climate products and climate risk products, would address needs and expectations that stakeholders have. In these case studies particularly, stakeholders are end users of these products. So we wanted to make sure that we would produce something which would be useful for them in their daily work practices. We organized a series of different events. We had an online questionnaire, we had a workshop, we had 2 workshops, one to establish the needs and the second one to validate the products that had been made during the research of the CLIM-RUN project. And then we had a final focus group to focus on the effective climate information sheets that had been produced.
Climate information is very important for the province of Venice to contrast the hydrogeological risk and the flooding problems. The main critical events concern floods of the lower course of the main rivers, floods in urban center, that is the most frequently critical events, and storm surges that cause coastal erosion and flooding, coastal flooding. So the climate information is very important for the planning, to plan the territory, to plan and size the hydraulic work necessary to prevent the flooding. The project CLIM-RUN can provide information, scenarios, climate scenarios that maybe is useful for the planning, and in particular for the strategic planning at the regional and at the provincial scale.
Defining a climate service is not easy at all. There are several European projects as CLIM-RUN itself, or ECLIS, Euporias, SPECS, that are trying to find a correct definition for climate service. A climate service should be a two-way channel of communication between stakeholders, the end user, and climate service to provide tailored climate information based on the real needs of end user. So, a climate service should be based on the user requirements, certified and consolidated, and accessible and user-friendly. To build up climate product for the North Adriatic area, we have analyzed several climate projections for this area for the request variables, temperature, wind speed, precipitation, sea level rise, in terms of the foreseen changes of seasonal and annual average, and also in terms of frequency of intense events like heavy rains. All the models show an increase of temperature ranging between 1 and 3 degrees, with a general weakening of surface wind. For precipitation, a general reduction of precipitation is expected for springtime and summer, while for the other season there is no agreement in the model. For the intense event, the model foresee a general increase of this kind of event for winter time, while a general reduction of heavy rains are expected for summer and autumn.
The sea level rise was a particularly challenging climate product, and the reason is that at the moment, the current generation of climate models that we use to produce climate scenario for the ongoing century, for the next decades, are still not able to fully represent all of the processes which are relevant for the sea level rise. According to these results, it is clear that all models agree on the fact that the sea level is expected to increase for the next decades. And this is very important because it indicates that there is some level of consensus across different models. What is still uncertain is the rate of change, because different models produce a different rate of change for sea level. And for these reasons, we think that this kind of product provides also an indication of the level of uncertainty which is associated with sea level increase for the next decades.
A climate risk and adaptation service is a generic process of developing and delivering information about vulnerabilities and risks posed by climate change, including the identification, assessment, and ranking of risks on different natural systems and human sectors. The final goal of a climate risk and adaptation service is to help stakeholders in mainstreaming climate adaptation in the development of plans, policies, and programs from the global to the regional and local level. The North Adriatic coastal area is a representative example of Mediterranean low-lying coastal area subject to a multiplicity of impacts posed by climate change, including sea level rise, inundation, coastal erosion, saltwater intrusion, loss of wetlands, and also impacts related to storm surge floodings that are particularly relevant for the city of Venice and its lagoon. Regional risk assessment, spatial decision support systems, and GIS tools were applied in the project in order to develop climate risk and adaptation services for coastal zone managers. Two main products were delivered to stakeholders, including sea level rise and pluvial flood risk maps. Sea level rise inundation maps show the coastal territory, assets, and ecosystems that can be inundated and lost due to projected rise in sea level, according to different climate scenarios and projections. Pluvial flood risk maps provide information about the number of potential hydraulic emergency in the territory of the municipality of Venice and about the spatial localization. Moreover, the assessment allows to address the vulnerability of urban areas to extreme precipitation events.